We have to remember why Pakistan is important. It's not just because it's an ally in the war on terror. This is a true nuclear power with formidable weaponry. Now, against that backdrop, in this country right now we have rising instability. There is a rise in religious extremism. The Taliban is back and strong in areas here. Now, one man that will certainly disagree with this assessment is the current president, Pervez Musharaf. And when I sat down with him, he was fiery, he was filled with passion, and he is not ready to take blame. This was the first time he sat down since he was just elected president, and he was desperate to hold on to a picture of Pakistan as making progress. So you've said, Mr. President, the last few days were very difficult for you, not just as a leader, but emotionally they were very difficult for you, that they were some of the most painful days of your life. Why?
Well, first of all, the idea of breaking from an institution which you served for 46 years, half a century, and where you worked with all your heart and soul, the pressures of governance, the turbulence in the country, all these created a combined effect.
Do you think you can recover from what's being called this second coup that has caused the political opposition, has caused some distress among the people here? How do you think you can regain their trust that you want to do what's right for Pakistan?
We'll call the opposition. They have all along these 5 years tried to destabilize me and the government.
You said the emergency rule was necessary to deal with security threat and extremists, but you wound up putting many people in jail who were political opponents, judges, media. Made people think that's who Musharaf thinks the extremists are, the media, the opponents. It doesn't engender a lot of confidence in you that you believe in democracy.
We have to understand, we don't want agitation here. We are going in for politics. We don't want agitational politics. Agitation means breaking down everything, burning things. That cannot be allowed. So therefore, if anyone is trying to do that, we will stop it. That is the way it is in Pakistan.
But you don't get locked up when you put out a story or say something that the government doesn't like.
The issue is different, right? In your country, maybe you don't hang people. Here we hang people, okay? Now don't teach us what you have. We will not impose what you have in your country in Pakistan.
You said in your speech, the back has been broken of terrorism. In the West, there is a perception that $10 billion in aid has been given here to help educate and squash terror, and that the situation in many ways seems worse. What do you say?
We are fighting terrorism everywhere. But when you say about $10 billion, sir, this is most of the money for services provided to troops, okay?
Do you have a concern that in the military there is a rising division between those who want to fight terrorism and those who have sympathies for some of the more radical Islamist movements, and that there is a tension in this country about whether or not you should be fighting these people in the first place?
This is what the Western media always keeps saying. We have gone through 30 years of turmoil. We were first fighting for 10 years, Mujahideen, Taliban, we were training them. You were giving us money to train them. You were giving us arms to hand over to them. That is what we were doing. For 1 decade we did that. And we launched a jihad together. Now suddenly you leave us. We handled this situation up to 9/11 for 12 years all alone. Nobody else. And when Osama bin Laden factor came in and the world wanted him to be shunted out of the place, who was doing anything?
You brought up Osama bin Laden. Obviously, for the Western world, he is the face of terrorism. I know you've been asked 100 times at least. They believe he's here. Why haven't you caught him?
Could be. Could be. We are together on the intelligence. We are cooperating fully. And who has more intelligence? Intelligence is human intelligence, technical intelligence, aerial intelligence. Who has technical intelligence and aerial intelligence?
The U.S.
Yes, sir. But we cooperate very well. So if there is a failure, it's not Pakistan's failure. Please don't accuse us. So,
if you knew where Osama bin Laden was, would you go in and get him and turn him over to the United States?
No, let's not go into the semantics, but we will get the target. Yes, indeed, absolutely.
Even if it were Osama bin Laden?
Absolutely.
And you would turn him over to the U.S.?
Let's not talk about whether we'll turn him over to the U.S. or we'll do something here. How will we behave with him? We'll treat him very well or we'll beat him up or something. Why get into it?
But it's a big question, certainly to the Americans. This is enemy number one for them. They want to know that their friend in Pakistan is on the same page and that if he caught Osama bin Laden, he'd turn him over.
I think the people who need to know it.
Are you any closer to a deal with Benazir Bhutto to share power?
I'm not into any deal with anyone. We are in a stage where we have to have free, fair, transparent elections. We have to see after the elections how things develop. And I have all the choices. If the situation develops in a manner which is absolutely unacceptable to me, I have a choice of leaving.
The idea that Pervez Musharaf would say he would walk away after elections he didn't like, a man who's seen as a de facto dictator, just shows you how volatile the landscape is here. There's a lot more in this interview he had to say. We'll play for you later on, but it's safe to say that this is the first time I think that Pervez Musharaf has actually felt that he is challenged, and that makes the situation here, Diane, even more volatile.
Yes, Chris, and really pushing back at the U.S. as we just saw.